Hello, Ben here, and welcome back to episode 26 of Benjy's Café podcast. Hope you're well, and it's lovely to be back with you all for a coffee in Benjy's Café after a late summer recharge, and I'm feeling good. Joining me this week is the actor, presenter and voiceover artist Jayne Sharp. Jayne's social media videos are enjoyed by thousands. In fact, The Sun called her the funniest person on social media. Her TV appearances include Richard Osman's House of Games, and Jayne has hosted the TV shows Dial a Date for ITV, Bad Lads Army and Little Monsters on Sky One. Jayne appeared in the play Buddy at the Bread and Roses Theatre London and plays Lorna in the feature film Spectrum, and her voice can be heard on TV commercials for some of the country's leading brands. In this episode, Jayne shares the importance of taking risks and pursuing one's passions, inspiring others to do the same.
I had so many amazing messages from people, random people, saying, you've inspired me to do X, Y and Z. I'm 40 something and you've inspired me to, it's not the same thing, not necessarily act. A couple of other people see other people going through life and they think it's easy for everybody and go, oh, you've just done that, it must be really easy for you. It's good to know, isn't it, that everybody needs a push.
Yeah.
Has nerves, is worried about what if it fails.
Oh.
But you've got to fail. And so what if you fail? Start again.
She's as brilliant and funny as one of her videos. This will be great fun. Welcome to Benjy's Café podcast, Jayne Sharp. Good morning, Jayne. How are you?
What a great intro. I was thinking, who's she? She seems awesome. Oh, it's me. Oh, wait. Really? Okay.
How are you this morning? You got a nice little cup of coffee there, a cup of tea on the go?
I can't function without my coffee, Ben.
Oh.
Although I've gone decaf.
Oh, wow, okay.
I know. I've cut caffeine out. And I'm trying to kind of like just trick myself that, you know, it's going to do the same thing. So it's fine. It's fine. It's not really giving me the buzz that I hoped for, but, you know.
It's nuts though. Like, I love a morning coffee. That's kind of one of my little morning rituals. But you're dead right. 2 or 3 of those, and it's like, woo-ha!
Exactly.
It's kind of like crazy, isn't it?
I only have the instant stuff still, but right. I'm like, I don't know. I just had to cut it out. I'm going to go straight in with a whole IBS thing. I went to the doctors the other day, and they think that I've got IBS. So they gave me this list of all the things that I can and can't eat, and of course, all the fun stuff has been wiped off and it's been replaced with things like decaf and gluten-free. So, yay! Cheers!
Gosh, cheers! Bottoms up. And
yeah.
Are you finding the gluten-free stuff okay? Like, is there enough kind of options when you do your little supermarket run?
Well, the thing is, Ben, what I should have done when I was given my list, I should have gone to the supermarket and bought a load of gluten-free things and bought all the right things and low FODMAP or whatever they're called. And I didn't. I just bought the same stuff that I always have. So today, just before we started, I felt really smug about myself because I had a pita bread with hummus. I was like, pita bread, that's got no gluten in it. So well, I don't think it has. Or it's got less gluten. I don't know. It's flatter bread, so there can't be that much gluten in it, right? Yeah.
Have you been skipping this morning? I've seen on your socials that you're skipping away. Like that, what a super start to the day. Does that kind of get you in the groove for a nice, happy day?
Ben, love it. Yes, I went this morning. I try and go every day. I try and skip for a solid 30 minutes. So I will set my timer off and I'll only press go when I'm actually skipping. So I know that I've done a full 30 minutes. And then I practice doing all my little tricks and things like that. And honestly, it's the biggest buzz because I hate cardio. Do you enjoy like exercising? Do you find it fun?
You know what? I don't actually. I love the buzz afterwards. I love that. I enjoy running. My knees are dodgy now, especially after wearing heels in panto. My knees. I've got osteoarthritis basically, so my running is reduced, but I kind of have to do it, but it's the buzz afterwards, Jayne, which I guess you get with skipping, that you just feel good, you feel alive. And, you know, I do ice baths as well during the winter. And likewise, it's just having that something, isn't it, that just sets you off on the right foot for a good day.
Okay, so here's the thing. If running is not for you, and if you're saying that your knees are bad, skipping, honestly, it's the answer. Everyone always thinks it's really high impact on your knees. Yeah. It's not. If you do it correctly, it is so soft on your knees. stand running. I don't love exercise. I'm not one of those people who enjoys going to the gym. I don't get a kick out of that. So whenever it came to like, oh, do a run or something, I'd be like, the thought of it filled me with dread. And then one day, I think I just started watching some stuff on Instagram. And I saw there's a girl called Lauren Jumps. She's amazing. She's absolutely incredible. She's doing all these insane tricks. And I'm like, I want to do that. But I want to start doing that. I don't want to have to do the boring stuff first. I want to get straight into all the hard tricks. Anyway, it's actually weird how it's turned exercise on its head for me now, because I cannot wait to go to the gym and skip, because
Amazing.
it's not even like I'm gutted when it's over, because I love practicing, and every day I learn a new trick or a new skill and new footwork, and it's such a buzz, and obviously it's amazing cardio. It's something this sold it to me, by the way, Ben. 10 minutes of skipping is the equivalent to 30 minutes running.
Okay,
so it's
that's
no-brainer.
a good sell.
There
we go. And I'm 6'7", Jane. Can you get ropes that big? Am I going to find something?
Do you know, that's actually a very good point. They all come very long, and you shorten them to your own. Well, I'm 5'9", so I'm quite tall, but yeah, I don't know if they come in that kind of height. But yeah, we'd have to just knot a couple, 2 or 3. But it's so much fun. Make sure I do a full half hour. And then I'll do some strength training just because I'm there, and I may as well. And I don't mind strength training. That's actually quite fun. But yeah, I just don't get the whole point of like standing on a treadmill and just, oh God, it just sounds depressing. Do you know what I mean?
Especially, when you're working out inside, and the monotony of a treadmill, it's kind of dull, isn't it? And that's why I run, or I kind of call it plodding. You know, I'm not fast at all, but just being outside, being able to take in the environment, that's so lovely. And my goodness, especially where you are, you're down on the south coast, right? And that must be lovely. Do you find that kind of helps just kind of give you a nice little lift as well, being by the sea
really
air and having the water so close to you?
I cannot tell you how this last year, so we've lived here about a year now, our lives have changed so much for the better. We were living in Buckinghamshire before. There's nothing wrong with it at all, but there was nothing to do. There was nothing to do. And you'd go to the same restaurant, or you go to the same bar, because there's only like 2 or 3 bars, if that, and one restaurant that people would go to. And it was just a little bit soul destroying where we were. And it was just, and especially my husband's quite a creative. He was living in Hackney before that. And then he came to live where I was living, in this sleepy little village. And he was just like, I feel like I need some more. I need something else.
Yeah.
And we started to come down here to visit friends. Initially, it was actually Brighton that we'd go down and visit friends. And every time we came away, we felt sad. And we'd always be looking on Rightmove, like, what can we get around here? This would be amazing. Anyway, these particular friends that we were going to see in Brighton, they were like, don't go to Brighton. Move to Hastings, because like we're going to go to Hastings in a couple of years' time. Brighton's too busy now. Come to Hastings. So we started looking on Rightmove for Hastings. And oh my gosh, like just what you can get for your money right by the sea is incredible. And every single day, I'm not even joking, every single day, me and my husband say to each other, thank you for doing this. Thank you. Like we're so grateful. Like we do the whole universe thing, like, thanks universe, thank you for letting us do this. Because it does feel like a blessing. Like we get to walk out of our house and you can see the sea.
Wow.
And even on a bad day, like today the sun's shining, it's great, lovely to walk around along the sea, and the sea looks really blue on a sunny day. And then on a really rainy, horrible, like stormy day, and they know how to throw a storm in Hastings. Even then, it's brilliant when the sea changes and it's really grey and the waves are massive. it's just incredible to watch. I honestly,
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
We're near, not as close to you, but we're nearish to the beach. And my goodness, it's such a lovely start to the day, taking the dogs out, just getting that fresh air hit.
Yes.
It's kind of lovely. And especially to kind of counterbalance your career and your professional life, which is so busy. And do you find that it's kind of aided your creative side and your career, Jayne, being so close to the sea, having that peace, that calm, that when you are in work, when you are booked for work, you feel rested and ready to go and recharged to give the best version of yourself?
100%. But also, weirdly, my work has got busier since I moved down here. So like the voiceover work, I've switched agents. I got a new agent and it just took off. And weirdly, like when we were living in Buckinghamshire, I'd always have to travel into London to go and do voiceovers. There's a recording studio on my road, which I can go and use. And it's just perfect. It's a 3-minute walk to get to the studio. And then I've had a studio built in the house as well. It's a cupboard. It sounds really grand, but it's not. It's a cupboard with carpet stuck to the walls and ceiling.
Hey, perfect.
But it's great because, and also as well, not living so close to London now, it's only an hour and a half to get there, but you appreciate London more, but then you also appreciate coming home more. Do you know what I mean? You kind of go, oh, I get to see that, but I also get to see this. And it's just lovely. Because you living in the city for a while, or close to the city, or having to be in London a lot, you do get a little bit sick of it.
You were born in Wakefield, Jayne. The move to London, it's so busy, but I studied at Middlesex University, so I was in London at the age of 18 to 21, 3 years full time. And at that stage of my life, you embrace all, don't you? The hustle and bustle, the buzz. And I look back now and think, my God, how did I cope with that? Like, did you find that when you were starting your presenting career, kind of madness, that, the 90s, the early the noughties, and the kind of,
but
it was
not just
all
that,
consuming, wasn't it? It was all consuming.
We were so young then. You change mentally anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
Like when you're younger, in your early 20s, you've got proper FOMO. You have to be out doing that. Everyone's doing this. Everyone's there. You've got to be there. You've got to do this. You've got to be networking. You've got to be mingling or you won't get that job. Or people are all going out tonight. You've got to go out too, otherwise you're going to miss out. And now I'm just like what's the opposite of FOMO? Because that's what I have now. Like, I'm more than happy for all you lot to crack on doing that. I'm more than happy for you to all go out and have a nice night out. Tell me about it in a text later. I'll be in bed at 9.
Yeah. 100%.
It was so much busier then, but we were all chasing it. And it's when you stop chasing it that it seems to come and find you.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Completely, yeah.
The weird thing is as well, though, for me, it's very serendipitous. When I lived in Belsize Park when I did my London days. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I made some of my best friends ever. And we had such a laugh living there. But it was one of those things, like I lived very close to the pub that everybody went to.
Right.
So everybody had to walk past our flat. So it was always knock on the door, to go into the pub. So we were always out. Or it was one of those things where I'd go to the pub and it was like our living room. That's our living room. Oh my
goodness.
But now I would say 80% of that group of our best friends all now live here, in Hastings. So it's like, what's happened? We call it, so obviously N-Dubs, where we lived before, NW3, we now call this N-Dubs on Sea. That's the new name for Hastings and St Leonard's.
Oh, I love it. I love the idea of everyone calling on you to go to the pub and doing the conga down to the pub for a nice night out. I love that.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And we got into so much debt. Because we had no money. And I keep thinking, now I couldn't afford to go to the pub every night now. What were we doing then? And it's like, oh, well, we weren't, were we? We were just, constantly going out by whatever means possible.
Yeah, well, I think we deserve medals for surviving that time. It's like, my goodness, but likewise, Jayne, now just a quiet night, and it's just knowing, isn't it, that you don't need to be everywhere, that it is quite good sometimes to say thank you for an invite to here, there, anywhere, and just say, you know what, listen, I'm listening to myself. I'm quite happy with my feet. I'm alcohol free now. I'll be quite happy with a 0% beer or a nice cup of tea. Probably too many digested biscuits now. I don't drink. That's like I'm like, it's terrible. That's that's my sugar fix. But it's just lovely, and like you said, Jane, waking up in the morning, especially where you live now, just feeling like, right, I'm ready to go again, and that clear conscience. And Jane, let me take you back to your early days in Wakefield. What was the route from Wakefield, from school there, or college in Wakefield, to finding yourselves in TV studios in London? Was that always something that, because you are very funny, well, you're so funny, like the core of you is funny, like did you always know that, or did you kind of realise that by your friends or teachers telling you?
I don't realise that at all now. I still put videos out and I'm like, oh, is that awful? Is that the worst thing ever? And then people like it and I'm always really surprised, like, oh, okay, thanks for saying nice things.
But what I admire is you putting stuff out there. Like, so easy not to, isn't it? But you're going for it. I love that.
Ben the other day about exactly this, and you'll know this. Being an actor or being a creative in any way, when you, especially if it's something you've written, you've worked on, and you've produced yourself, and you put it out there, and you know what it's like with keyboard warriors. It's so easy to go, oh, that was shit. What's that? What you did? It's so easy for people to say bad things, though, isn't it? So when you put something out there, you're putting a part of your soul out there on display, and it's terrifying. It's actually terrifying. It's ridiculous, but it's terrifying. Where it's the biggest relief ever when suddenly, once you've put something out and you see the comments come back going, "Oh, that's really funny," or "That's this," or "That's that." You're like,
yeah. But it's lovely that, that other people, literally in your case, Jane, thousands, agree with you, and they're finding the funny in what you find funny. And was it kind of a nervy thing to do that, to get your stuff out there initially?
Yeah, really scary, really, really scary. It's all like, oh, I've got this idea, this is great, I'm gonna do this, and I'll execute it this way. But yeah, that moment of pressing send, post, whatever. And then it's that whole thing. This is what I don't like about social media. I love it and I hate it at the same time because it's so good for so many reasons. But then, I don't know, it brings with it so much anxiety, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does. And I worry about like my kids for a start off now, going into it so early. For me, I'm just, it's really, really nerve-wracking. There's so many things, like you put a video out that does really, really well. Like there's one that I did, and on Twitter, it had like over 1 million likes or something. It's one that I did over lockdown. It kind of went crazy.
Yeah. Was that the video with the combing your nether regions?
Yes, it was.
God, I love it. Jane, that made me laugh out loud. That does not sound great, does it? Yeah.
But
if you need cheering up, watch, because it's funny. My God. It was that moment. I love it. It's more
like something from an OnlyFans page. Maybe that's what I should be doing.
That's the name of my new album, Ben Harlow, Combing My Nether Regions. It's like a soft rock with a dash of folk. It's gonna be huge.
Well, and it's like, so you put that out, and then the problem that immediately comes from that is, it's like it's the difficult second album, isn't it? What do I put out next? What do I put out next? Yeah. Because as soon as that doesn't get as many likes, you're questioning yourself again. And it's like, this is ridiculous. This is meant to be fun. Why am I getting so bothered about it? This is why I haven't done a video for a long time. And it's kind of because of that. I got to a point where I just wasn't finding it fun to do. And I will. I've said, I have got a few ideas coming up, actually. And I'm like, right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to post some stuff. But they had an open day at Wakefield College, and it was media. And I walked in, and they had, all it was back then, it was a camera set up on a tripod, and that was it. And I was like, oh, this looks amazing. But they had their own radio studio and stuff like that. It was really small. But I was like, that's it. This is what I want to do. And I just thought, I want to work in telly one way or another. Whether that's behind the scenes or in front, I don't know. So I did that. Then I went off to university, studied media and film at uni, and finished that. And then I started applying for jobs. Went back home, started applying for jobs. And the first job I applied for was as a runner on Family Affairs. Do you remember that? Yeah. On Channel 5. So I started working as a runner on Family Affairs. And I kind of realised then even though acting wasn't really, I always wanted to be a presenter at this point. Acting really wasn't on my radar then. I just thought it was something I wasn't able to do because I hadn't been to drama school or anything like that. So it just felt like, well, no, you can't do that now. So I started working as a runner, and I had that pang of envy, I suppose, like the people that were on the other side of the camera. I'm like, I want to do that. That looks like so much fun. And there was me just like lugging water bottles around the studio, getting people's lunch orders and stuff. But I loved it. It was I think it's always really good to do jobs like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you start at the bottom, and then I think no matter what, wherever you rise to, you know to treat people well, because, you know, whether they're getting your lunch order or whatever, they're just trying. They're just doing their best.
Yeah.
You know, it's their job and they're working their way up. But yeah, just started applying for other jobs. And I got a job at Live TV as a presenter. And that was amazing. Awful and amazing all at the same time.
Well, I guess you learned so much just on the job, didn't you? Was that kind of like training in the world of presenting, would you say? Just chucking yourself in there, embracing an environment and just going for it.
Do you remember the channel Live TV?
Yeah.
So we were based over in Canary Wharf. And we were paid no money. We worked all the hours. And my first job was on a show called Agony with a girl called Judy. And we just had to pretend that we disagreed with everything that each other said. That was the job. Whatever she says, you think the opposite.
You just disagree.
Action. But yeah, I think it's good to start low, work up, for sure. But yeah, that's kind of where I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And then it was the 90s, and there were lots of TV jobs on offer then, lots of presenting stuff.
Yeah. And then, was that an exciting period for you, just being the hub of it, in the heart of it, when, you know, those shows were beginning to evolve around that time?
Yes, although you don't really realise that at the time, do you? Whatever you're in at that moment, you don't see that it's exciting until way later when you look back and go, God, that actually was a lot of fun. It was quite stressful at the time because you were always like, what's my next job? What am I going to be doing next? You know, who do I have to be schmoozing and all that?
The freelancer's lifestyle, my goodness, it is hard, isn't it? That's why it's lovely, as you know, hinted on earlier, Jayne, that as one gets more experienced and gets older generally in life, you just know the importance of that balance. But you know, when you're younger and of an age, it is all consuming, isn't it? You're just fighting and fighting for the next gig. Constantly,
and trying to network and all that stuff that takes effort. But no, I enjoyed it. I was working in the time way before people really had stylists or anything like that. So when you look back on photographs, so wearing. It was a red carpet events, and I'd just be wearing whatever I'd got from New Look that week. And it's like, honestly, there's some bad hair, some bad clothes going on. There were some amazing times, amazing moments. And my first, oh God, I loved it when I worked on a show called Live with Christian O'Connell.
Yeah.
I was his sidekick, which was brilliant because that was my first ever live TV show. Where we were live on air, and you know, anything could go wrong and did go wrong. But it was such a thrill, such a rush.
Wow.
And also the best thing about doing live TV is that once you've finished and they've said cut, we're off air, you can go home. There's no pickups, there's no retakes, there's no nothing. It's right, we're all down the pub. Yeah, all right.
You're done,
thanks.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
With that adrenaline pumping, I guess, from having that live experience.
Yeah. The adrenaline from that was something else. So I used to do this show called Bingo Night Live just after I'd had Nicole, my eldest, who's now 17.
Right.
And she was a baby. She was 6 months old. I had to move to Manchester just with her. Whilst her dad at the time, he was working on Radio 1, so he had to stay down in London. And oh my goodness, I was running on empty. I was absolutely exhausted. Like I say, I had a 6-month-old with me. So I was a mum all day to a new baby.
Gosh.
The babysitter would turn up at like 7 o'clock. I'd go into the studio. where we go through for meetings and this, that, and the other. We wouldn't go on air sometimes till about 11:30 in the evening. Come off air, say at 12:30. Sometimes it could be later because we always got shoved back if there was a football match on or anything like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And so come off air 12:30, sometimes 1:00, and you're buzzing. Everyone's like, woo, high-fiving and the lot, maybe go for a drink or whatever. And then go home, and then I'd shower because I'm wide awake. I couldn't get to sleep till about 3:30. And then my baby would be up at 6. So I'd have 2.5 hours. And it was so funny because like friends from back home kept messaging me because they'd watch me on TV each night going, you're losing a lot of weight. I was stick thin. And they were like, they're actually quite, we're quite getting worried about you now because every time they saw me, I was thinner and thinner and thinner. I was running on nothing but adrenaline. And like I say, then get up the next morning, do it all again. Just be a mum all day to us. And it's a 6-month-old is a lot harder than having, say, a 10-year-old who can kind of entertain themselves. No, they're fully reliant on you. So it was great in terms of I loved the show. It paid really well. That was all lovely. But I was still being a mum and still doing all those things all on, like I was a single mum doing it basically. Yeah, we were living separately. Yeah.
Gosh, you must have been exhausted and just doing all of that. And also, it's not like an office job. It's not a desk job. You're there, you're exhausted in the studio, lights on, lights, camera, action. Yeah. And you've got to be on it, haven't you?
You've got to give
Did you have any
110%. You can't just phone it in. You've got
exactly.
to be
You're there and you're live and on display. Did you have any kind of anxiety, sort of butterflies before literally going live? Any techniques that you would use just to kind of get you through it?
No, it was just you're on, go.
Yeah.
Back then, we didn't really discuss mindfulness or even meditation wasn't a thing, or just breathing wasn't a thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not something that we talked about. Yeah. It would just be, you're going on air, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're on. Okay. So now it's nice to kind of, so it's something I've sort of developed more since starting with the whole acting stuff and go, oh, this is what you guys do. Okay, you breathe, you think, you do this, you take a moment for yourself. That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was it quite a big move for you to go from the presenting world to become an actor, to enter that world?
Yeah, and it's very different. It's a very, very different ballgame. And you feel like it's not the same as just standing in front. Because when you're, I don't know what the difference is, but it is different. It's very different. I think you can just kind of blag your way through presenting a bit more. You can't with acting. There's so much so much of yourself you've got to put into it, but so much you've got to tap into. And that's not the same as presenting. That's not the same as just throwing everything, and being woohoo, is it?
No, completely.
Yeah, it's really different. I only decided to do this and pursue the acting thing. I'd been thinking about it over lockdown. And I was like, I feel like I want to train. I want to do some training. I'd love to start. And obviously, no one was doing anything at that point. So I waited, and then I got in touch with Lee Lomas at Working Actors Studio London. And I started
amazing.
The most terrifying moment of my entire life going into that first acting class as a complete newbie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, with all these young, wonderful, gorgeous kids. Well, I say kids, that sounds really patronising. It's not meant to be. I was the oldest by a long shot.
Yeah.
And they all knew what they were doing, or if they didn't, they certainly looked like they did. And
well, they have that age. They have that confidence, don't they? It's kind of like fearless. It's like, goodness, either just don't feel it, or they're very good at hiding it.
Yeah. But I don't remember being like that when I was young. But maybe we were. I don't know. I don't feel like I ever was that put together as they seem to be these days. But yeah, it was brilliant because I got put in. We were all paired up. We'd been given the script a week beforehand. Learn it, learn both parts, do whatever. Coming in, then he pairs you up And luckily he paired me with this amazing girl called Miranda, who I was actually buddy with. She wrote Buddy. It's her play.
Oh, wow.
It was great because Miranda's just the loveliest human
Oh,
ever.
brilliant.
And she was so wonderful and just looked after me. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much.
And had she written the play by that point? Had she written Buddy by that point?
No, but fast forward then to about a year later, and we were doing a showcase with Working Actors Studio. And she had written a couple of scenes, which is what we did. And then she developed it further like a year later into a full play. And she was like, because she played my younger sister. And she called me one day and said, loved what you did with the showcase. I loved working with you. Would you take on the character that you did beforehand? And, we'll do a full Fringe theatre performance. And it was brilliant. It was so much fun.
Massively.
And afterwards,
massively.
the emotion certainly as you've just come off stage, the emotion that you feel, certainly towards these people that you've just been working with, and the respect, it's lovely. And also then the people that come to watch you and all that, you're just full of love, aren't you? You're like so grateful to everybody. Like, thanks for coming, thanks for being with me, thank you for everything. It's great. It's a lovely feeling. But equally, I remember on the first night of it, the stuff that was going on in my head. My heart is racing now, talking about it. Just before the first night. And weirdly wishing it away. Like, oh God, I want this all to be finished now. I want this to be finished. But then it starts, doesn't it? And you're in it. And it's like, let's just enjoy it. It's brilliant. You've invested months of rehearsals.
Yeah.
You've spent so much time with these people. It was only 4 people in our cast, because it was only a little Fringe production. Also, you spent so much time away from family and, other friends that you've not seen for a while. So you've put everything into it. And then it's like, it's done. Oh, okay. Okay, bye everyone. And then you're like, what?
That's it.
It's a weird feeling, a really weird feeling. But I look back on it really fondly. Yes. On night 3, I think it was 2 or 3, my eldest daughter came, and I didn't know where she was sat. And she said afterwards, but by the way, that was the loveliest thing, highlight, I swear, of my life.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I might cry, sorry, but I came downstairs after we'd finished, and again, you're all buzzing, aren't you?
Yeah.
And she said, bear in mind, she's only just turned 17, so she was 16 at the time. And really cool and stuff. Came downstairs, she wrapped her arms around me and she said, Mum, I'm so proud of you. And for your kid to say that to you, that's what it just makes me really emotional, because she literally squeezed me, because she knew what a big thing it was to sort of, that was the first time I'd really put myself out there and gone, I'm going to give this a go, I'm going to do this. I'm a lot older than the rest of you, love, but I'm going to try my best and I'm going to go. And she literally was like, I'm so proud of you. And that was, honestly, that moment, give me that moment again for the rest of my life and I'm a multi-billionaire, because that was just awesome. But that
reaction, Jayne, it's so beautiful, and something I think, you should be so proud of, taking a deep breath and going for it, because a lot of people don't have that belief in themselves. But I can only imagine, you work so hard to get to that point.
I'm so proud of myself. So I'm 47 now. I was at 44-ish when I thought, right, I'm going to give this acting malarkey a go. I'm going to start training. And I'm genuinely really proud of myself for just going to class to start off with, because that was the most terrifying thing ever. And right now I'm going to keep giving this a go. And I've done a feature film, I've done a couple of shorts, I've done all sorts of bits and bobs. And I'm like, it's not about becoming a Hollywood star for me. It's about, I've said I wanted to give this a go, and I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I really
that's
like it.
You're doing something you wanted to do and that you love, and to have that kind of inbuilt strength to do that. I think it's so admirable, and I think it's wonderful that you have, because not everybody has that strength, do they, to kind of go for it?
I posted about it quite a lot, bored people to death about it on Instagram. I had so many amazing messages from people, random people, saying, you've inspired me to do X, Y, and Z. I'm 40-something and you've inspired me to... It's not the same thing, not necessarily act. A couple of people, actually a couple of friends of mine were like, I might start acting as well. I might do that.
Yeah.
And then somebody else said, you've inspired me to set up a business. Like she was doing a small business working from home, but she goes, I've never had the nerve to do it. And I saw that I think other people see other people going through life and they think it's easy for everybody and go, oh, you've just done that. It must be really easy for you. It's good to know, isn't it, that it's not, that everybody needs a push.
Yeah.
Has nerves, is worried about what if it fails.
Oh.
But you've got to fail. And so what if you fail? Start again.
Yeah, completely. Like nothing horrendous is going to happen, is it?
No.
If it makes you happy and you want to do it, then you've just got to go for it. And I think that's brilliant. And I love the fact that decision you made in your careers has inspired, your friends and other people as well, and the feedback you've got on social media. That's so admirable.
Weirdly as well, that links back to the skipping. So the skipping thing, I can put skipping in anywhere. I always talk about skipping. Because I only started that in June of this year. So it's June, September now. Yeah, it was beginning of May, June time that I started. And I've been documenting it.
Mm.
And lots of people have said to me, you've inspired me, I've bought a rope. I've bought that rope you recommended, or I've done this, or I've done that, and I've started doing, like, great, that's amazing that you've watched me go from nothing to now I can do this.
Yeah.
And you've gone, I'm going to give that a go too. So that's just a win for me. I just feel really, I feel really chuffed for those people that, well done. You've just started doing something you've never done before. Awesome.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
And how nice then. So you've got with the voiceovers, Jayne, you've literally got the studio at home, and you get much time to sort of prep a script, or is it a skill you have that you can you've fed through a hint or two from a producer and kind of away you go?
It's interesting. So yeah, your scripts for voiceovers are very different to when you're given a script for acting. You're literally given it, right, read it, bye, that's it. You're given a script, read it through once or twice. If I go into town, if I'm down at the studio down the road, I'll usually have the director or whoever in my ear giving me direction as we go along. The other day, in fact, last week, when I was doing a voiceover, and it was for a mood board, for a mood film rather, for someone, and they just text me the direction, going, just do this, 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 and this. So then I'll just go, right, do you know what? I'll do it. I'll do a read through, and we'll go from there. If you don't like it, we'll do it again. And yeah, you end up doing it quite a lot of times, and just until you get it right. But yeah, it's good if people know what they want with their direction, then it's a lot easier. Yeah. Yeah,
you can kind of nail it straight away, I guess, can't you?
Yeah.
Gosh, you're busy. How do you find the time to skip? My goodness.
I do school drop off, and then I go straight to the gym. But that's the other thing. I was practicing before. I'll do the school drop off, then I'll go to the gym. But it did start with skipping. That I've got a mat in the back garden. I'll do it in the back garden. But then it's like, it's good to do it where there's a mirror, and it's good to do it on a proper floor. So, but it's good. You can take a rope anywhere with you.
I love to ask my guests, just as we approach the end of our chat, Jayne, what's on the dinner menu tonight? What's on the menu?
I never realised as an adult that would be the most stressful thing, deciding what you're going to eat every night. No one preps you for that, do they? It's like, I haven't even thought that far ahead. And when I don't plan properly, it ends up being fish fingers and peas.
Hey, it's a classic dish.
Yeah, but when you've had it like 43 times in a row.
You know what? I might have that for lunch. I haven't had a fish.
What are you going to have?
Fish. Gosh, well,
Inspire me, Ben.
So I'm home alone, and so I'm having just air fried beef burgers. This is the glamorous side of the meal, just a cheeky rocket, coriander and tomato salad.
Oh, that's
just so I can kind of pretend and convince myself that I'm being, semi-healthy at least. So yeah,
my husband
but also
cooks. He's away. It was his birthday on Monday, and he had to fly out to Berlin for work.
Oh gosh!
And then he's back today. But I can't really make him cook as soon as he walks in. But he's good. He does a really good chili where he'll make it so he'll cook it for hours, and when
Oh,
it becomes so sticky, you
beautiful.
can stand the wooden spoon up in it, and it doesn't
Oh my
move.
God.
It makes-
Jayne, it's so lovely to chat to you.
You
And
too.
you've really put a smile on my face. I've loved hearing your route into TV, what makes you feel good and feel happy. And,
Yeah.
you know, it sounds like life down there is brilliant. I wish you so much love and luck with the acting. Keep flying with the videos. Please keep them coming.
I will.
Keep
I
making
promise.
keep making other people happy, because, you know, you should know that you do. And it's been
That's
so
a nice
lovely
thing to say. Thank
it's
you,
been
Ben.
so lovely to have you join me in Benjy's Café, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
You too. Thank you, darling.
How great to be back with you all in Benjy's Café. Thanks for listening to the wonderful Jayne. Get skipping, folks. Make sure you hit follow so every episode gets sent straight to your phone. And if you can, please leave a review. No booking required, and available wherever you get your podcasts. In episode 27, I'm joined by one of the country's brightest sports presenters, Sam Hurst. I'll get the kettle on. Have a great day.